We're continuing with our theme of sweeping using sumigeshi and how we can transition from standing down to the ground. Our context, right versus right, and sometimes we find that we fail in the actual throw to finish from a standing position because mechanically it's a little bit more difficult than some of our other grips. But when you're down on the ground, it can be a very effective way of going into sweeps and submissions. Let's take a look now at using our partner's reaction as a way of entering into a very powerful and underused attack, especially in jiu-jitsu, the Ude-Gatame. Juji-gatame is the straight arm lock, the thing that people are most familiar with, where your hips are underneath your partner's arm, right, underneath the elbow, and you're looking to hyperextend in this fashion. In Ude-Gatame, our partner's arm is elbow point up, and our elbow meeting our partner's elbow to create a break in the opposite direction. Okay, so rather than an extension that draws our partner's elbow up, Ude-Gatame is an extension that draws our partner's elbow down. All right, there are many other things that make an Ude-Gatame, but that's a working definition for us today. So we're beginning right versus right. We're down on our knees. We're about to hit our sumigeshi, and our partner takes his hand and posts it out wide. We saw previously that if we wanted to continue sumigeshi, we would need to work on the base of support. So we're identifying that our partner's right hand is the thing that's preventing them from going over all the way. When we look to move this wrist here, elbow around wrist, we also, not just as easily, but we also have an opportunity to attack not the sweep, but the submission. In order to do that, we're going to take our elbow not down to the wrist, but up here towards our partner's elbow. Okay? So, in order to do that, we're going to need to get our body a little bit deeper than it was previously. If we're looking to go to the wrist, we only have to go to about here. But when we're going elbow to elbow, we need to draw our head in nice and tight here to our partner. So we're looking to take our elbow around the corner. The purpose of this elbow is to rotate your partner's elbow here. So if Sensei brings this up, you'll see that initially he posts and his elbow is pointed in this direction. All right? This makes the arm very strong right here. But when we go elbow to elbow and we roll this elbow towards our chest, suddenly the joint, our partner's shoulder and elbow, a lot of the slack goes out of it, and his shoulder is not able to maintain the structure that it had before. Here, this structure is very strong. When we roll the elbow over, this position is not quite as strong. You can see the pinky is beginning to leave the mat. And now out of this position, we can scoop, turn, and rotate our body out to the opposite side. So in order to get this going, we bring our hips to the far side, and now, not our right knee, but our left knee is knee to the sky, vertical. We take our top leg out. You have a choice between simply clamping your two knees together or taking this leg heel across to your partner's far shoulder. We control our partner's shoulder with our two knees, and we begin our attack here, drawing our partner's elbow down as we move our hips slightly out to finish. Okay? So, your partner initially bases. They have a very strong structure here, right? The arm is locked. When we roll the elbow, we change the angle, and we take away some of the structure here. Easier for us to move, and at the same time, we're winding the joint to be able to put a little more tension in it. So, we're here, 1, 2, 3. We fall to our shoulder. We may begin down at the wrist. We're going to bring our head up, and we're going to aim our elbow to our partner's elbow here. As we roll our partner's elbow over, look how we shift our hips towards the side of the arm that we're attacking. Our knee moves out. We don't stop with our back on the floor. We continue rotating until we're facing our partner's head. This left knee, the top knee, comes out, and it forms a clamp over our partner's shoulder. The inside knee, we'll take a look at in a moment, is also going to come up. From here, we control. We either have a grip with our heel over the far side, or we go knee to knee. Our finish is pressure down and our hips back. Okay, so the entry one last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're turning, cutting the corner, and we're clamping in here. Let's talk for a moment now about the mechanics of the actual finish and the positioning of our legs for Ude-Gatame. To start with, we have a knee on top of our partner's shoulder, and then we have a knee underneath our partner's shoulder, or a thigh underneath our partner's shoulder. Okay? What we're looking to do is to place our partner's wrist thumb down here, right at our collarbone. When we do this and we rotate, we put tension in the arm because as we twist, it's very similar to the action of wringing out a towel. We take all of the slack out of our partner's arm, and we rotate the elbow in such a way that it's difficult for him to return his elbow down to the mat, which is what he would want to do in order to alleviate pressure. So our elbow position rotates and puts pressure on our partner's elbow along with the shoulder, and everything is stiff and solid here. We have control of the end of the lever because our partner's thumb is up high, we can squeeze. And then we're controlling the shoulder joint using our knees. So shoulder joint, knees, elbow, and then the end of the lever, our neck and head and our shoulder. So when we're in the position to finish, we can have our inside knee here and our top leg over the top like this. We can have our inside knee on this side, okay, on the far side, and our top knee over. Or we can have our knee on the far side and heel, or knee on the near side and heel. All of these are good. My personal preference is knee on the far side and heel because it feeds us into a number of other good positions. When we're going to actually finish, the mechanics of the finish here, it's not just, so Sensei, can you make your arm strong here, please? Yeah. It's not just pulling in and down. Okay, if I just pull in here against a person who's got a very strong grip, oftentimes I'll meet enough resistance and the technique will not work. The lock will get looser, your partner will bend the elbow here, and the hand will slip. Okay? The mechanics for the finish are elbow to elbow, rolling our partner's elbow over the top. Okay, so his elbow joint is going out in this direction. When we go to finish, we're going to actually move our hips backwards. Why? If I move my hips forwards to finish, often we elongate and we lose the grip here. Okay, our partner's hand slips in front. So we stay rounded, we shoot our hips out backwards, and then into this space where our body becomes kind of concave here, rounded. It's into this space that we bring our partner's arm. We don't want our body out here because there's no space into which we can pull our partner's arm. Instead, we want a rounded body here with our hips shooting out the back door and then the pressure down. Okay. So those are the mechanics of the finish. Here we have an entry into Ude-Gatame off of our partner's base, and you'll find that your sumigeshi, even your right versus right, offers you a number of opportunities once you get down to the ground to start to go in, bridge the gap.